Imagine this. You think you are safe. You think the hard work is done. The chase is over. She is yours. And you can finally breathe easy. You settle into a routine. You relax. You let your guard down. And that is exactly when the ground falls out from under you. Suddenly, things change. The peace is gone. It feels like a switch flipped in her head. Now, you are walking on cracked ice. You are standing there, totally shocked, wondering, who is this person? And what did I do wrong? I am going to tell you the truth. It might make you angry, but you need to hear it. Every woman does this. Yes, every single one. It doesn't matter how sweet she was at the start. It doesn't matter how many times she said you were her soulmate. Eventually, usually when you feel the most comfortable, she will start to test you. And I don't mean small tests. I mean a test that decides if your relationship lives or dies. And most men? They are failing right now and they don't even know it. She isn't doing this to be mean. She isn't planning this with her friends. She isn't trying to hurt you on purpose. It comes from deep inside her. It is biology. Her instincts wake up one day and ask a very simple question. Is this man really strong? Or was he just pretending? The second that question pops into her head, the testing starts. If you don't see what is happening, you have already lost. So, why does she wait? Why not test you on the first date? Because at the start, you were a mystery. You were a challenge. You had your own life, your own friends, your own goals. You were solid, but months pass, maybe years. You get cozy. You put her first. You stop doing the things that made you strong. You become easy to predict. You become reliable. And that is the trigger. That is when her gut instinct starts to panic. She wonders if you are still the prize she fell for, or just another guy who gave up on himself. Here is the hard truth about how attraction works. It is black and white. Deep down in the brain, women put men into two boxes. Box 1, the leader, the strong. Box 2, the follower, the weak. There is no middle box. You are either the rock in the river, or you are the water flowing around it. Every time you talk to her, every time you react to stress, her brain is taking notes. It is deciding which box you belong in. And once you act like the weak man, it is very hard to change her mind. Let's look at the strong man. He has a mission. He knows who he is. He doesn't ask for permission to live his life. He isn't scared of a fight. When she gets emotional, he stays calm. He isn't terrified that she might leave, because he knows he will be okay on his own. When she tests him, he barely notices. Why? Because holding his ground is just normal for him. Now, look at the weak man. He lives for her smile. He is scared of her bad moods. He would rather give up his own values than deal with an hour of silence. He trades his self-respect for peace. He thinks this is love. He thinks, I am being a good partner. I am making her happy. But actually, he is killing her attraction for him. Every time he bends, every time he puts her feelings above his own dignity, he is screaming to her instincts, you were right to doubt me. I am weak. I saw this with a guy I used to know. Let's call him Mark. The first year they were married, Mark was solid. He went to the gym 4 times a week. He had a poker night with the boys. He had a side business he loved. His wife would sometimes whine about it. She'd say, you spend so much time away. Mark would just grin and say, babe, this is what makes me happy. And he would go. She respected that. But slowly, the whining turned into guilt trips. You love poker more than me, she said. We never do anything together. Instead of staying strong, Mark started to fold. Poker night became once a month, then never. The gym? He stopped going. 2 years later, Mark was 40 pounds heavier. He hadn't seen his friends in ages. And his wife? She treated him like dirt, not because he got fat, but because he gave up. He failed the test. He compromised his core. Her brain moved him from the strong box to the weak box. Now, here's the part that confuses everyone. This goes against every movie you have ever seen. The more you need her, the weaker you look to her. I know people say, happy wife, happy life. But think back, when you first met, when she was crazy about you, were you needy? Were you blowing up her phone? Were you canceling your plans just to see her for an hour? No. You had a life. You had options. You were fine with her, but you were also fine without her. That was your power. Now, the thought of her leaving makes you sick. Her mood controls your mood. If she is happy, you are happy. If she is mad, you are ruined. You call it love. Her instincts call it neediness. And women can smell neediness from a mile away. Let me explain what happens in her head when she smells this weakness. She doesn't wake up thinking, I want to ruin his day. It's deeper than that. When she feels you getting soft, an alarm goes off. I call it the safety check. She starts poking at you. She starts friction. She picks fights over nothing. She is looking for the answer to one question. Is he really this soft? Or am I wrong? It's not evil. It's nature. For thousands of years, a woman's survival depended on picking the strongest man. A weak man meant danger. Today, we live in safe houses, but the software in her brain hasn't been updated. She is still looking for the leader who can protect the tribe, even if the tribe is just the two of you. So, how does the test start? It starts small. She questions a decision you made. She picks a fight about how you washed the dishes. She goes cold and ignores you just to see if you panic and chase her. She pushes against a rule you set just to see if it's a real wall or just a suggestion. And the whole time, she is watching. She doesn't care about the dishes. She cares about your reaction. Will he break? Will he get angry? Will he stay calm? Or will he get sucked into my emotional storm? Most guys fail right here. They don't even see it coming. She starts an emotional fire, and you try to put it out with logic. You think, if I just explain the facts, she will calm down. Big mistake. You are trying to solve a feeling problem with a thinking tool. The argument is not the point. The argument is just the arena for the test. The real question is, can you stay centered? Or will you let her chaos become your chaos? The moment you step into her emotional storm, you lose. She pokes. You give in to keep the peace. She loses respect and pulls away. You panic because she is cold. You chase her. You apologize. You buy flowers. You promise to do better. She comes back, but not because you won. She comes back because the test isn't over. She needs to see how far she can push you next time, and the cycle repeats. Each time, you get weaker. Each time, she respects you less. I had a friend who was a shark in business. Confident, Richard a boss. But at home, a totally different story. His wife would start huge fights. She threatened to leave. She threatened to take the kids. And every time, he broke. He begged. He pleaded. He bought her expensive jewelry. She would stay, and things would be good for a month. Then, boom, back to the drama. 3 years later, he was a shell of a man. He was taking pills for anxiety. He was afraid to pick a restaurant for dinner because he didn't want to upset her. The man who ran a company was walking on eggshells in his own kitchen. And guess what? She left him anyway. She left him for a guy from her gym. A personal trainer. This guy made 10 times less money than my friend, but he had the one thing my friend lost. He had a spine. The trainer didn't care about her drama. He didn't build his world around her. He didn't need her approval. Her instincts, which were starving for strength, locked onto him. Even though her logical brain knew my friend was the smarter choice, her biological brain chose the strong man. Let me list the ways you are probably failing these tests right now. You need to be honest with yourself. Number 1, you use logic. She brings a hurricane of emotion, and you bring a spreadsheet. You fail because the test isn't about facts. It's about your frame. Number 2, you react with fear. You are scared of her anger. You are scared of being alone. So you say, I'm sorry, even when you did nothing wrong. You give up. Every time you do that, a little piece of her attraction dies. Number 3, you try to buy her. You smother her with gifts. You do all the chores. You become her servant. hoping she will pat you on the head. But the more you chase, the more needy you look. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. Number 4. You try to be vulnerable. Maybe you read a book that said you should cry and share your deepest fears. You spill your guts. She says she is proud of you, but 6 weeks later, she is cold and distant. Why? Because you proved to her instincts that you can't handle pressure. You looked like a child, not a leader. Number 5. You call for backup. You tell her mom or your friends about the fight, hoping they will tell her she is wrong. This is the worst move. It tells the world that you are too weak to handle your own house. I had a client who tried it all. Logic, begging, therapy. His wife would start World War III over how he parked the car. She was flirting with other guys. She stayed out late. He was about to have a breakdown. Then, one day, something clicked. He just stopped being afraid. He wasn't angry. He just didn't care about the drama anymore. She started a fight. He looked at her and said, "I'm not doing this." He put on his shoes and went to the gym. She screamed, "If you walk out that door, I'm leaving." He turned around calmly and said, "If that's what you need to do, I'll help you pack the car." He wasn't bluffing. He genuinely let go. And the most amazing thing happened. The tests stopped. She became sweet again. She became respectful. She became the woman he met years ago. Why? Because his internal state changed. He didn't need her to survive. So, what is the answer? It is the answer most men are terrified to hear. You must have a backbone. You must have boundaries that do not move. This doesn't mean you act like a dictator. It means you stop accepting disrespect. She starts drama. You don't engage. You don't get mad. You get bored. You say, "I'm not interested in arguing. When you want to talk like adults, let me know." And then you leave the room. Go work on your hobby. Go live your life. She threatens to leave? That is her choice. You must believe, deep down, I will not beg anyone to be with me. If she insults you in public, you calmly say, "We are leaving," and you leave. There must be consequences. Not anger. Not yelling. Just clear, firm consequences. But here is the trap. Most guys hear this and think they need to act like a cold jerk. They put up a wall. They act tough. That is not strength. That is just fear wearing a mask. You are faking it to try and control her. You can still be loving. You can still be warm. But you must do it from a place of power, not neediness. Let me explain the difference. The needy man gives a compliment because he wants something back. He wants sex, or a smile, or reassurance. The strong man gives a compliment because he feels like it. He expects nothing in return. The needy man avoids conflict because he is scared she will leave. The strong man faces the problem because he values respect, and he isn't afraid of the outcome. It's not about loving her less. It's about respecting yourself more. True strength is loving her without desperately needing her to breathe. When you finally get to this place, a funny thing happens. The tests disappear. Her instincts relax. Her brain gets the signal. Verification complete. This guy is solid, but, and this is critical, you cannot fake this. You cannot just act like you don't care. Her instincts have a million-year-old lie detector. She will know if you are pretending. She will feel your hidden fear. Even if you stand there with a stone face, your vibe will give you away. You have to truly reach the point where your happiness comes from you, not from her. Think of it like this. If you are starving to death, and someone offers you a stale, moldy piece of bread, you will eat it and say thank you. You are desperate. But if you just ate a giant steak dinner, and someone offers you that same moldy bread, you will laugh and walk away. The bread didn't change. Your need for it changed. The first guy acts from scarcity. The second guy acts from abundance. That is the difference between being needy and being a man of integrity. Most men are emotionally starving, so they eat the moldy bread. They accept disrespect just to get a crumb of attention. The man of integrity is already full. He can walk away from the table because he knows he will eat again. He knows his worth. The sad reality is that most men never learn this. They bounce from one relationship to the next. They repeat the same cycle. Chase, compromise, lose respect, get dumped. They never become whole. They stay hungry. And a hungry man cannot be strong. Listen to me closely. If you have been failing these tests for years, if she has already put you in the weak box in her mind, it might be too late for this specific relationship. This isn't her being mean. It is a biological filter. Once the switch is flipped, it is very hard to flip it back. You can start setting boundaries now, but she will just think it's a game. You can get in shape, but she will still see the weak guy who begged. You can make $1,000,000, but to her, you are still the guy who asked for permission to see his friends. She saw you crumble. She saw you sell your soul. That image is burned into her brain. That is why you must do this from day one. You must keep your core. This is not about being stubborn. It is about your values. Once you dissolve your boundaries, the relationship is dead, even if you stay together for another 20 years. When I talk about boundaries, I don't mean threats. If you talk to him again, I'm leaving. That is a threat. That is weak. You are trying to control her. A true boundary is about you. I will not be in a relationship where I am disrespected. You are not controlling her actions. You are controlling what you will tolerate. The weak man tries to control the woman. The strong man controls himself. Listen, nature is nature. The test is coming. You don't get to choose if you get tested. You only get to choose if you pass or fail. You can keep being the guy who fails, the guy who chases, the guy who apologizes until he hates himself. Or you can become the man who is so centered in his own life that her tests just bounce off him. Because here is the final paradox. The moment you truly don't need her is the moment she will need you the most. The moment you are not afraid of losing her is the moment she becomes terrified of losing you. The moment you are strong enough to walk away is the moment she will fight to make you stay. This is not a game. This is not a magic trick. This is how masculine and feminine energy works. Every woman does this. Now you know. Now you see the matrix. There is only one question left. What are you going to do about it? Will you keep living the lie? Will you pretend everything is fine while your relationship slowly rots? Will you keep blaming her instead of looking in the mirror? Are you going to keep failing a test you didn't even know you were taking? Or will you become the man whose strength is so real that the tests aren't even necessary? Your strength is not a shield you hold up. It is who you are. Don't be the guy who learns this lesson after he loses his family. The tests are coming. Are you ready? This knowledge is a responsibility. You can't unsee it. Now you have to act. If you are ready to break the programming and take back control, subscribe to the channel. We talk about the things no one else will tell you. And remember, it's not about acting like an alpha. It's about finding the man you were before the world taught you to be soft. The strong man is what is left when you burn away the fear and the neediness. That is the man she met. That is the man her instincts are hunting for. And that is the man you must be. It is your only path to freedom.